How's it going, everyone? It's Juan Romero here from Switchwatch, and I'm back with another review. Today it's a game called LA Noire, which was provided to us by Rockstar. They sent us a physical copy in the post, so thank you very much for that. Without further ado, let's get straight into the LA Noire review. LA Noire is a story of a beaten man, a man named Phelps, whose story throughout the game is told in a series of flashbacks of his campaign during the World War II, where he was a USMC veteran. Back from his tour in the war, you take control of the protagonist as a beat cop who makes his way through the ranks to detective. You will take on a number of cases within the LAPD through differing departments, and as you continue, you will learn about Phelps' past and his present and future, the story told in a series of 21 cases which you'll have to solve to progress the story further. In the 1940s, the mob was prevalent and cases will revolve around brutal murders, arson and conspiracies, some of which were based on real cases at the time. This was a time for LA which had its fill of corruption and violent crimes. It helps that the character is well developed and the story plays out as if you were watching a noir movie. In this respect, the game is very impressive, and Team Bondi back in 2011 did an incredible job. I wonder what they would have been capable of today had the company still been around.
A city on the verge of greatness. A new type of city, based not on the man, but on the automobile. The car, a symbol of freedom and vitality.
It's clear from the very beginning that the audio had a lot of work put into it. First of all, the voice work here is incredible. All of the actors who took part here deserve huge credit for telling the story with such confidence and belief, and this makes it much easier to immerse yourself in this world. Countless times I had to remind myself that this is a game and not a film. When a new case starts and you're sat listening to the case details, I felt somehow like I was part of the LAPD. The narration is delivered expertly well, and you just cannot wait to delve in and find out more. The music here is typical 1940s, and Team Bondi have recreated the decade absolutely on point. We have an assortment of incredible blues and jazz tracks, and Simon and Andrew Hale, who composed the tracks, have made this feel an absolutely authentic experience. And for me, music and sound are integral to painting the picture of the times. It has been nailed here. It's spectacular how the music is composed to match what's going on in game. Find all the clues at a scene and you'll hear an audio cue. Drive in your car and you'll have the recreation of the 1940s radio stations playing. The soundtrack is available to purchase, and if you enjoy blues and jazz, I highly recommend purchasing the soundtrack and playing this one relaxed one evening with a glass of wine, closing your eyes with your headphones on and listening to those wonderful stress relieving melodies. A stellar audio performance here then from the game, and I have absolutely no complaints at all. It will of course be dependent on tastes, but sometimes you have to sit back and admire the work, even if the music here is not your thing. In a world full of pop songs filling up our charts, it's refreshing to listen to a wonderfully composed soundtrack for a change. In terms of sound effects, it's AAA standard stuff, from the authentic sounds of your 1940s vehicle to gunshots during shootouts. I enjoyed the sounds used when having fist fights, as it sounds really satisfying when delivering a punch straight to the face, or when you're walking around the LAPD station. Comments made by officers make it feel all the more lively. The visuals here have been slightly upgraded to what we had back on the PS3 and 360 back in 2011. It's by no means the prettiest game you will ever see, but there is a grittiness to it which is exactly what was aimed for. The city of LA, to my knowledge, is pretty much a faithful recreation, to the point where you'll often need to stop while driving your vehicle to check out the local sights and architecture. This game includes a new over-the-shoulder camera angle, which is a wide angle for a better view of crime scenes, which is welcome over the original. The character models and revolutionary facial animations at the time for me hold up to this day, and I still think they are insanely good. I'm still in awe of how well the facial expressions of the characters display almost a lifelike quality. As a lot of the game is about interrogation of suspects, it was imperative that they got this right, and wow, did they. I've always been interested in how facial expressions link to when a person is telling the truth or lying. I guess playing poker has a lot to do with that interest. I like to try and read what's going on, and this game's no different. Can you tell when someone's telling the truth or lying? What tells do these characters have? Those movements of the eyes looking shifty, you may say to yourself. The voice acting and detailed expressions will give you a good clue, but you'll need to do the rest. The crime scene settings all look fantastic and every detail is covered. However, there are some really gruesome scenes which you need to be wary of. Searching for clues on a dead body, let's face it, isn't for everybody. In terms of performance, this is a topic which is at the forefront of many people's minds right now. We're always listening and taking note of what you, our watchers and readers, subscribers are telling us. Now, if you own an Xbox One or a PS4, you'll be able to buy LA Noire as it's been remastered for those systems. If you're not bothered about portability and you want the best graphics, then I'll say to you now, buy the game on one of those systems, as the visuals are of course better and you get better draw distances as well on those particular systems. Of that there is no doubt. I'll come back to the age-old question for Switch, and that's how important is portability to you? For me, it's necessary. I do not have time now to play traditional systems due to the nature of my work, family circumstances, etc. So when I get a spare minute, I get it in when I can. That may be sat up in bed, in the car when my partner drives, or whatever, you get the point. It's the only way we have time to even run this channel, which is why we dedicate ourselves to the Nintendo Switch. Now, if you own a Switch already, then I guess it's also important for you. The port is very good and was worked on closely between Rockstar and a company called Virtuos. It's important that these type of companies get recognition for these ports, much like Panic Button have done with Doom and Rocket League. Virtuos and Rockstar have done the same with LA Noire, and they've done a really good job here. I did, however, encounter some screen tear from time to time, or objects in the distance taking a while longer to load up. There were times when the frame rates dropped. Did it spoil my experience? For me, it did not, but for some it's important, and I must stress here that it was very rare. No doubt people will tell you or me that the Switch cannot handle this game. I beg to differ from that viewpoint. I'm certain it can, but this is a 6-year-old engine, and even with a fresh coat of paint, there's no hiding that fact. You only have to look at the recent ports of Doom or to know that the Switch can handle newer engines with minimal hiccups. The fact, for example, that Wolfenstein is coming to the Switch in 2018 tells you all you need to know, so don't let that concern you too much. The Switch is quite capable, and the sooner we stop comparing it to the PS4, Xbox One and PCs, in my view, better. When looking at this game, it's easy to look at the sections of driving around LA in a car and thinking, okay, this is a bit like GTA. Driving parts feel a little similar. The game is much more of a linear experience, and the driving sections are really just there to get you to the next crime scene, find evidence at certain locations, or to visit some witnesses. You can use your notebook to set the location you need to get to, and this will be shown on your minimap. In fact, if you wanted to, you don't even have to drive at all, you can just get your partner to do it all. However, you would miss some of the sights and side missions which crop up on the radio from time to time. The main focus here is similar throughout: get a case, drive to the scene, investigate for clues, which the game shows as a magnifying glass when you come across something of potential interest. The game also makes fantastic use of the rumble controls. Pick up an item and maneuver the camera around the item until the Joy-Cons start to vibrate, and you have to hold the camera in that position for the camera to zoom in to that particular item's point of interest. Really good use again of the Switch's hardware features, and I'm glad that these touches have been added, as it all adds to the experience. The main focus is to find as many clues on each case as possible. This may mean searching for items in each scenario to questioning a potential witness, and really that's the meat of the game. Questioning has been changed from previous versions of the game, but only slightly. In the older versions, you may have been able to choose 3 potential options when questioning a witness, and it used to be truth, doubt and lie. Now it's good cop, bad cop or accuse. I'm not sure what I prefer, in all honesty. It's in your interest to find as many clues as possible before questioning potential suspects, as it will make it easier. Sometimes if you get it wrong, it can be frustrating, and it's really quite a skill. No game has ever made me feel like I was a proper detective, and to this day there is nothing quite like LA Noire. Within the game you'll get into the occasional brawl, shootouts, car chases, people chases, and you can drive of course from location to location, which by the way, for some weird reason I was trying to obey the traffic laws. actually quite difficult. You could level that the game is slightly flawed, as to some it may feel a little bit repetitive, and you have to be really patient here. This is a slow burner, but I have a different view and believe while it is more of a linear game, I enjoyed discovering more of that story, trying my best to solve each case to the best of my ability. And each case of course is different to the last, and while each case more or less follows the same formula, I don't personally think it's a bad thing and didn't find myself getting bored. Noire is exactly the type of game I want to see on the Switch in the future. The Switch is showing that there is an audience for games with adult themes, and by the time of me writing this review, the game was already 8th in the sales charts. Another point to mention is that the game makes fantastic use of the Switch's hardware in terms of touch controls. If you get to a crime scene, you can use the touch screen. There's also the use of the gyro and motion controls if you want to use that as well. I personally use the touchscreen a lot more on the Switch in portable mode, but even then I don't like getting fingerprints on the screen itself, so I was happy just using the normal controls. Controls here are very tight as well, everything's great, in terms of controlling Phelps, moving around using the analog sticks, top trigger buttons to run for example. It's all pretty self-explanatory and I don't think you need me to go into too much detail here. And lastly, if you buy the cartridge version of the game, then you'll need another 9 gigs free on your system, which is just something to be aware of. The game on the Nintendo eStore is currently £44.99 or $49.99, which of course is a AAA price. You can buy the game in a physical copy cheaper on Amazon, and I'll link that for you guys down below in case you want to buy it. In any case, it's a fantastic product which can be played on the move. This is an excellent port with very few technical hiccups. The fact that the Switch's capabilities have been used to complement the game is a great use of the system. I'm in no way suggesting you double dip if you own this game already, but if you've never played it and fancy solving cases on the move, then there is no complaint really about the value, certainly if you can get it cheaper from somewhere like Amazon. There are extra outfits to unlock over the original which have special abilities and also new collectibles. In terms of replayability, I can see many perfectionists wanting to perfect their case score. The replayability is definitely here. You're looking at putting in 20 hours to complete the main arc of the story, and if you want to perfect it, add another 20 hours to that. Also add another 4 hours for all of the DLC which comes included in this bundle. Fair value then, I would say. This game may be 6 years old, but don't let that put you off. Rockstar has delivered an incredible port with the help of Virtuos, which to me has always been a very good game anyway. An absolutely stunning soundtrack accompanied by great characters and gameplay mechanics which still feel fresh today. The performance is good on the Switch, albeit with a few technical issues, but this does not detract from a game which will draw you into its crime-filled world of drama where you'll be pivotal in making LA a safer place. Some may find parts of the games repetitive, and not all will take to some of the gruesome crime scenes, which is something to take into consideration here, but for me it's a pretty easy recommendation. If you own this already on another system, then I don't think it's worth buying again unless you can't live without portability, but this will be amazing for anyone new to this game. An 8.5 then, out of 10. My name's Juan Romero from Switchwatch. I hope you enjoyed today's Noire review, and if you did, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're a new watcher here. To all of our existing watchers, thank you so much for supporting us. Don't forget to leave a comment down below letting us know your thoughts, and last but not least, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. You know what I'm going to say, guys, and I've had a few comments from people saying that I should be using my name in this catchphrase, so let's give it a go. I'll see you on the next Juan.